This is Alejandra Valdiviezo, and you're now watching Dago Sports Show.
Southern California, yeah.
On the knees.
This is San Diego. Hungry for them pesos. Maybe you should stay close. They know. Hey bro. Every day lay low. Even as the day goes by.
Thank you for joining us once again for another episode of Dago Sports Show, bringing you some of the best talent sports has to offer. Today we travel to Poway High School and are proud to introduce Alejandra Valdiviezo. This outstanding senior has built herself from the ground up into one of the best high school wrestlers in the state. Size does not matter when it comes to talent, determination, and desire. She has proven time and time again she is prepared to do what it takes to achieve her goals. Achieving a top-ranked position, an impressive record, and a high pin count, she dominates anything in her path. She is also 3-time CIF, 2-time master, and a state champion. Let's find out what the view looks like from the top of the mountain.
Welcome back to the Dago Sports Show. We're out here in Poway with this CIF master and state champion wrestler, Alejandra Valdiviezo, who is allowing us some opportunity to share her journey up to this point for her in her high school career, on her way to college eventually. So, Alejandra, thank you for the time.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. Definitely well-deserved. Did some research on you. I'm just amazed at the accomplishments of wrestling that you have. So this is and you're the first female student athlete to be on the Dago Sports Show. So thank you for that opportunity. Well deserved. You deserve your flowers now. So back on campus, spring break?
Spring break, yeah.
Okay.
Started.
So what is the first wrestling memory that comes back to you on the spring break that we're here at campus for?
Like first memory, like ever?
Yeah, just at Poway High School.
At Poway High School. Probably kind of, I think, would be my first time just walking into the wrestling room would be like my, like someone says Poway wrestling, and that's the first thing I think of, like my first memory when I first like walked into the wrestling room.
So share with us what Poway wrestling is, because this is an historic wrestling program at this high school. So share with us your thoughts when you walked in and like, wow, I'm really here in the wrestling.
Well, I was already kind of new to the sport, and so I was like, whoa, like, this is some intense room right here. And the coaches were really nice outside of wrestling, but in the wrestling room they were serious. They were all serious. We're all serious about wrestling in there, and a lot of hardworking people and dedication and sacrifice go into that wrestling match.
How long have you been wrestling?
I've been wrestling for 6 years.
So where did you start wrestling at before high school?
I live in Ramona, so I started up in our town.
Okay, and what was it? Is there the name of a youth like Pop Warner football? Is for wrestling? What is it called?
It was the Dog Pound Wrestling Club. It was before one of my coaches left.
And how did you get turned on to wrestling?
I was actually a cheerleader before I started wrestling for like 5 years, and my brother started wrestling, and the coach at Ramona was like, hey, like, you should try wrestling. And I was like, all right, okay. And so I didn't want to at first, and my dad somehow convinced my mom, because she was so against it too. She was like, no, let's not. And then my dad's like, no, she needs to learn how to defend herself. And my mom finally caved in, and she's like, you know what, that's a good point. We'll give it a shot. And so it got to the point where I was like, oh my gosh, like I had my first ever match ever, and I got second in like an all boys bracket. And I was like, what? Cheerleading? I was like, what is this? And I was like, no. And so that's how I got into wrestling.
So that's a big jump from being a cheerleader to beating boys in wrestling.
Yeah.
So where did you cheer at for Pop Warner?
Ramona.
Also for Ramona, the Pop Warner team?
Yeah.
Okay. So your first match, you placed second in a boys bracket.
Yeah.
Is that when you knew there's something special here? I'm over here beating these boys. I can't imagine the feeling of the boys like, I just lost to a girl. Like, you're not the average girl, So share with us that emotion when you knew like, hey, I can beat these boys.
I actually loved it a lot. I kind of like remember seeing that match, and I remember losing my finals match, and I was so mad. I was so sad. And then I sat back and thought about it, and I was like, I'm like mad about this. I'm like, this is like a big deal to me. And then that's when it kind of just hit me. I'm like, wrestling is like, this is for me. And I mean, seeing like kind of the boys cry made me smile a little. So that's, kind of what triggered it.
So you had that Mamba mentality at an early age, like, hey, I want to be the best.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you play second, what changed within you to spark that flame to say, I'm going to be a champion one day?
Well, growing up, my parents always kind of told my brothers and I they're like, you could do whatever you want, be whoever you want in life, just work really hard, like be the best at whatever you want to be, whether that means a baseball player, a wrestler, an entrepreneur, an engineer, whatever you want to do in life, just be the best you could be.
So you touched on your family giving you that advice. Share with us the impact and how much your family means to you and supporting you through your journey up to this point.
My family means so much to me. They are everything. They're the reason that I'm here today, especially my parents. They're my number one fans. They take all the sacrifice, and well, we all do. We've sacrificed so much and given so much dedication. Their love and support for me to be here where I am today.
So that's an amazing blessing to have such a supportive family.
Yes.
And you said your brothers as well, or how many brothers you have?
I have 2 younger brothers.
Okay. So do you practice on them at home as you got older?
Yeah, actually, they help me a lot. We practice at home, sometimes in the wrestling room, but they're a little bigger now. But when we were younger, we used to like wrestle, and I would beat them up only because I was bigger. But like now that they're bigger than me, they're like, oh, you don't stand a chance.
Right.
But it's fun.
So share with us what your favorite match was along your journey, because to win CIF 3 times, to be a 2-time master champion and a state champion, of that journey, of all those matches, which one was your favorite?
I think it was last year when I think I was seeded number 2 at state, so I was like supposed to like make the finals. And I'm not one for like looking at like the seedings and stuff. I'm like, that doesn't matter. Like whether you're seeded number 1 or seeded last, like I'm gonna wrestle you the same. And so I feel like I think I lost my semis match against a girl that I had already beat, and I was like, what in the world? And I was just like, I don't know, I feel like I had the confidence of like winning, but like mentally I was kind of just like not there, and I was kind of just like, oh, no way. Like I didn't want to accept it. I was just like, I was mad. I was really, really mad. I mean, I was grateful for the opportunity and stuff. Don't get me wrong, but I was upset at myself, and that's when I was like that. I feel like that was the most important match, because that's when I like realized like you have one more year, you have one chance left. Like you gotta go get it. Like there's no way. Yeah, you worked this hard and sacrificed so much for you. It's not.
So for you to say your favorite match was a match you lost in the state finals, the mentality to say that sparked the flame for which ended up being your most successful year, your senior year.
Yeah.
Okay. So share with us who your toughest opponent was and from what school.
My toughest opponent this year, I think I would say Lauren Zaragoza. She's from Brawley High School. She's a sophomore, I believe. But I took a loss to her at Masters. But I've been wrestling her since her like freshman year. Every year I've beaten her except for Masters. And I was like, what the? And I was kind of like not comfortable, but more kind of just like, I'm going to be another Masters state champ. And so I think there's 10 seconds left. The score was 4-4. And I tried a head and arm throw. I don't know why. I hit a head and arm throw, and I missed. And she got a takedown. So she won the finals at Masters, and that kind of was like, I'll see her again at state. And so I did in the semis. And I would say out of all my matches at state, she was my hardest match.
So share with us who your coach is for Poway, because growing up in San Diego, I've always known that Poway was a legendary program for wrestling. And share with us who your coach is and the impact this coach had on you in your wrestling career to get you to this point.
Yeah, I have. First of all, I'm really grateful that I have as many coaches that I have. I think I have like, I'm not even kidding, like maybe like 20. I didn't like. There's a lot of coaches that come into that room. But specifically, I would say Coach Myers, Coach Almanza, Coach Ren, and Coach Shanneman and Coach Victor. I kind of like, the coaches that are in there almost every single day. But yeah, they've definitely inspired me to be the best I could be by pushing me to my limits and telling me stuff even when I don't want to hear it. Even though it's hard to hear, it's the truth, and the truth hurts.
Share with the people what Masters Championship is after you win the CIF Championship as a wrestler.
After you win the CIF Championships, you move on to Masters top 4, I think. And then you got to place top 3 at Masters to move on to state.
So what's your mentality going into that state fight, knowing you're number 2?
Actually, I didn't want to know that I was number 2. I didn't want to know anything at all. But my best friend was like, you got to look at the seedings. And I was just like, I don't want to. She's like, you're seeded number 2 again. And then I was like, okay. And I thought about it. I was like, I was seeded number 2 last year. Things could go south. You never know. And so I was just like, okay. And I kept that in the back of my mind. And I feel like at state, I was like, take it one match at a time. Because last year I was kind of like, you're supposed to make the finals. You're supposed to make the finals. Like, you're fine. And so I was like, no, like, you got to take it one match at a time. You never know what could happen. And so I took it one match at a time. I took it 10 seconds at a time. I was in the match and I was like, you got to win 10 seconds. Like, you got 10 seconds. And I was like wrestling. And I was like, you got to be in good position. You got to have head control. You got to have control of the match. It's your match. And so I went into every match kind of like, this is my match. Like, I'm, running this match. So I feel like kind of taking it slow and one step at a time is what helped me.
So state final, senior year, and you never won state before. You're at the final match. All eyes are on you. I saw the clip. It's dark around, and all the spotlights on the wrestling room.
Yeah.
How do you feel walking onto that mat of the final of the state championship?
I feel good. I feel confident. I feel prepared. The nerves definitely got to me a little bit, but I pray a lot, and I had this prayer. I say it in Spanish, but it goes, Dios está conmigo, ¿quién contra mí? And it's Romans 8:31. And it translates to, God is with me, who is against me? And I was like, this is like, God has my back. Like, he's with me. Like, this is my match. And I thought of my mom, because she always texts me that every single match, no matter what match, no matter where I am, she always texts me that. And I taped my shoes and I wrote it. I always write it in tape, and I tape my shoes that I scratch it out. And so before my match, you got a little nervous, and then I was like, I took a big deep breath, I touched my shoes a little bit, and I was like, all right, I got this. So I went out there and I just...
The first period, you line up.
Yeah.
And have you ever wrestled the person? Okay.
No, actually, I think she was seeded number 4. She upset the number 1 seed.
Wow.
So I was like, oh shoot, like, I've never wrestled her before. Okay. Like, she upset at the number 1 seed, and I'm number 2. And I'm like, oh, shoot. So that's when I got in there, I was like, all right.
It's go time.
Yeah.
So walk us through when you realize I'm getting ready to pin her and I'm going to be the champion. Share with us that like, I'm going to win. Walk us through that.
So I was in there, I shook hands, or I took a deep breath, I shook hands, and I was like, all right, it's go time. And we were hand fighting, and I was like, I gotta be patient. I can't be taking silly shots that aren't there. And so I was like, you gotta set up your shots. And I was kind of like moving her around. And so I took a shot, and we went out of bounds. So we went back into the middle, and it was neutral again. The score was 0-0. And so we were wrestling, and then she takes a shot. And to me, this shot, because we drill this all the time in the wrestling room with my coach Shannon. And so she took a shot, and I down blocked and went around. And so I was like, like, I not in the match, but like after when I watched it, I was like, that's my bread and butter. Like, I literally do that every single day. And so I was like, oh my gosh. And so I just got it. And so I was kind of like riding her out, and I was chopping like the arms, kind of trying to break her down until she got flat. And I saw that arm, and I'm kind of known for, if I'm on top, I'm gonna half. I'm gonna do a half. And so I saw the bar, and I was like, I'm gonna run it. Right. And so I ran it, and it wasn't working. And then I readjusted, and I kept running it, and I ran it. And then I saw the girl, one of the ladies, about to tap the ref, because once there's like 10 seconds left, the ref's got to know, so he could blow the whistle. And I was like, oh, I don't want to go to the second period. And so I was like, just squeeze. And so I was squeezing so hard. And I saw the girl, and he was about to tap the ref. And there was like, I think 15 seconds left on the clock. And the ref was like looking, and I was like looking at the ref, like, come on, call it already. Like, both of my shoulders are, on the ground. And then he calls the pin, and I'm like, oh my God, I just pinned the girl in the first period in the finals.
He hits the mat, you're state champion.
Yeah.
Share what's the emotion? You jump up.
I was like, oh my gosh, like, oh my God, like, my God. Like, I was happy, I was grateful. I was like, I just did that. I was like, all of that hard work, all of the sacrifices, all of the crying and rough days where I didn't want to go to practice, but I still did. The running, the dieting, everything was all worth it. And so I blew a kiss to God, and I was thinking of my parents, and I was like, I want mommy. I ran off the mat, and I was like, I need my mommy. Right. And so I went to go see my parents right after that match.
And what was the biggest meal you ate after that? What meal did you eat after you, hey, I won, I'm going to go out to eat, celebrate?
Well, unfortunately, I wasn't at my grandma's. First place I would have got to was my grandma, but I think it was Wingstop.
Wingstop?
Yeah. It was
Wingstop. Give you some chicken, the wings, and the bread, and get all of that.
It was Wingstop and crumble.
Well deserved too. So, amazing accomplishment. You're at the top of the mountain. Like you said, all the times where you didn't feel like practicing, you were there. Yeah. All the times where everyone else is eating good and you're on a diet. It was all worth it. And to hear that emotion you shared with us, it's just a tremendous honor. And now that you're at the top of the mountain, on to college, what are you looking for to college? Because you haven't yet committed.
No, not yet.
Okay, so colleges.
Soon.
What are you looking for? What's a couple things you want out of a college for you to take your talents to for the next one?
For college, I'm definitely looking for a school that has a whole package. I think academics is the most important. You can't go anywhere, you can't wrestle without good academics. So good academically, good wrestling wise, and just a good environment. Kind of like have a room where they have the same goals, the same ambitions as me, and wanting to be the best, working really hard, as well as having coaches that push me to my limits, but as well as like have a good relationship with me and aren't so serious all the time. I think having fun is also important as well. So that, and just teachers that are flexible, knowing the fact that I'm a student athlete as well.
Before we end this episode, share with us what's your favorite teacher or favorite class here at Poway.
My favorite class, I think, would probably be, it's probably my engineering class that I had with my teacher, Mr. Dome. I'm actually in robotics as well. And so before season started, I went to Ecuador, Paraguay, Brazil, Panama. So we helped people in like third world countries learn more about like robots, and gave them resources that they didn't have. And so that was kind of like a life-changing experience for me. It kind of just like learned something new that I was like, wow, like I'm really grateful for what I have and where I am. And so I feel like that class kind of had like a life-changing impact on me. And that class was really fun. I plan to be a architectural engineer as my major.
For your major?
Yeah. So That's definitely my favorite class.
Okay. And so the favorite teacher in the same class, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And what advice would you give to the incoming freshmen coming to Poway, the incoming female student athletes that are interested in wrestling, or the underclassmen actually? What advice would you give them? Some things you learned along your way that you wish you could have possibly heard, or just sharing the same advice you learned along?
I think I would say probably pushing yourself to your limits, even when you don't feel like it, even in the days you're rough, it's hard. You sacrifice so much for what you want, and you can only get so far. Pushing yourself only so far. Don't accommodate to where you are. Always want more. So, yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, CIF champion, master champion, and state champion. It's been an honor and a pleasure. Thank you. Of course, all these flowers and everything is well deserved.
Thank you.
I look forward to eventually seeing you in the Olympics, through college and Olympics. Yes, absolutely. And thank you guys for watching Dago Sports Show. We're out here in Poway, and we'll see you next time. Proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
From cheerleading to state champion wrestler, you never know what you can achieve until you try. Let this testimony inspire you to embrace defeat and use the knowledge you gain to achieve success. We are proud to inform you that Alejandra will be attending Colorado Mesa University, and with God's will, you could be watching a future Olympic champion in the making.
Look at that. Look at that. Just jump to that half of the wrist. Look at that. Now we're getting swipes. Oh, wow. This could be big things for Valdiviezo. She's got 25 seconds. You guys got some time. Uh-oh. 25 seconds. Ward is fighting hard. What's waiting? Oh, Ward is fighting hard. 15 seconds. Valdiviezo looking up the clock. Oh. Got it. And gets the fall. Seconds in the first period, gets her first state title.
Alejandra Valdiviezo from Poway High School is your champion at 120 pounds.
Awesome parents too, awesome family. Give it thanks to the man up above.
He's such a good wrestler.
What a great way to end that. Good job.
Good job, bro.
This is Alejandra Valdiviezo, and you're now tuned in to Matrix Sports.
Matrix ENT.